The St. Louis Blues just took a huge gamble as Jim Montgomery made major changes to the lineup, which has huge implications on the team moving forward as this team continues pushing to get back to what we had last season. The St. Louis Blues are changing with new faces coming in and fan favorites being moved out. There's so much to break down on this new look St. Louis Blues lines, and we're going to break down all that and so much more, including quotes from Jim Montgomery. We're going to break down all this and more later on this episode. So before we get into it, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet and you want to stay up to date on everything to do around the St. Louis Blues, make sure to go down and hit that free subscribe button. It helps a ton. And in return, we'll give you daily updates from all around the team. But with that, Darius, we got to go straight into this because we know the St. Louis Blues have been struggling to find offense to start the season after looking incredible to end last year, going on a win streak, going into the playoffs, forcing a game 7. But with this, we're seeing major changes coming to this team, and fans are feeling a different way about this going through. Now, we can see Jimmy Rutherford put out that the lines have changed. We're going to break down quite a bit. The biggest thing to touch on first is going out with Buch, Thomas, and Kyrou on the top line. We get a quote from Jim Montgomery coming through saying their just ability to elevate when they elevate the three of them together. There was a game last year, we did that in Utah, and they scored the game-winning goal. Now, going into this, and we're going to break down all these lines as well, but what is your thoughts on Jim Montgomery reuniting this trio on the top pairing?
First of all, we love all of you guys who watch these videos, but I've been seeing the comments. We didn't do anything. Mark and I didn't do anything. We did not curse this team. We are not the reason that they are not performing. We love this team. We hope that they perform. I believe in Robert Thomas and the whole team and Jim Montgomery's ability. But all of that to say, there have been some changes made. It clearly did not work in their last game against the LA Kings. Anytime you lose 2-1 to that LA Kings defense in overtime is not a good sign. You do have to change some things up. So you can see here, they are sticking with a couple things that have been working. Suter and Snuggerud. I do like that pairing still. I do wonder how long that is going to run. I'm also finding a familiar pattern with this team so far this year that whoever plays with Suter is playing well. So I think that has a lot to do with maybe one player in particular. But anyway, we get the lines being mixed up. We get Shen playing with Neighbors as well. You know, Neighbors has looked really good. Holloway's back with Shen now, right? They look good on that second line. Kyrou's up on the top line now with Thomas, maybe to get him going, even though Kyrou hasn't really been going himself anyway. Buchnevich has been good and has been a really good complementary piece in his play in terms of like what he does in certain areas of the ice and what he's doing in the offensive zone, using his body to his advantage. So hopefully that first line can kind of get going for this team, because if you look at the stats so far through 6 games, half a point a game player for Robert Thomas, I have to be honest, Mark, it's not good enough. And I know it's a small sample size, but if he's only going to put up 40 points over the course of this entire season, the Blues are, I don't even want to say in trouble. That would be horrific for this team. So besides all of that, before I throw it back over to you, Mark, Logan Mailloux is making his return to the team. Sorry to jump the gun there, but is making his return into the lineup. It seems that way, at least from Jim Montgomery, because of the line rushes so far. So we'll see what happens in their next game in terms of, does this stick? Maybe they're just, getting Mailloux reps with Fowler right now. They're completely changing up the defense core. We can get into that more specifically. Tucker did look good at times, especially 2 games ago. So that's pretty interesting to keep an eye on. But now Kessel is the odd man out, at least in line rushes. So we thought the blender was out last time. Man, he bought a new blender and now he's got 2 blenders and all the lines are completely jumbled up. And listen, it just hasn't been good enough so far this season.
And I think the biggest thing is looking at the forward group, we want to see more offense out of these guys. We can even see Jim Montgomery saying that this line has worked. They elevate each other. They have the ability to elevate. And I do like that as a sense, but the biggest thing is you're moving around these lines a lot. Listen, a lot of things are working. Like you said, Pius Suter, you put him with anyone, and he's going to go out and produce. But I think the biggest thing is they need to get everyone going. Robert Thomas is someone that should be at a point to game. Now, listen, am I worried? No, God, no. I I think he's going to go out and continue elevating his game. 26 years old. He's still not even in his prime. We've seen a career year coming through last year, so I do expect him to get back to form. Maybe putting him with a guy like Buch or a guy like Kyrou is going to elevate the game. You can see 4 points for both, 4 assists for Buch, and then the 4 for Kyrou as well. So maybe getting those trio together, maybe this becomes the three-headed monster that we've been looking for all season. But with the offensive side, this needs to elevate. They have to get better. They need to continue producing. But the back end is where things get really confusing, and a thing where fans might look and say, I don't really love this. The big thing is, listen, Logan Mailloux, very young. Matthew Kessel coming out, and Kessel looked good during his stints. Tucker's moved up with Bulk, Fowler down with Mailloux, and Broberg with Parayko. Now, the big thing with this series, we see Jim Montgomery speak on this as well. It's very similar to the forward lines. We switch it up because we're not generating much. I don't see us breaking a puck out easily as pairs. I don't see us generating much offensively as pairs. So he goes out to talk in this as well, and he goes in to say things like, you want to switch things up. You want to see if a new face maybe helps them. Maybe you get something that gels better. But what is your thoughts with Mailloux coming in with Tucker moved up and Broberg, who is debatably one of the best players on this team so far this year, playing with Parayko?
One of the best young defensemen in the entire league in Broberg, in my eyes. And, playing with Parayko, there should be some stability there. We know what Broberg brings to the lineup, right? Again, probably their best defensemen are going to be their best defensemen at some point in all areas of the ice. And, him playing with Parayko, I expect that to be good. And I expect them to generate some offense. And there's a little bit of that yin and yang happening there, right? In terms of styles. I know Broberg's, he can be responsible defensively, that's for sure. But I think that might work out. And then having Fowler with Logan Mailloux might settle Logan Mailloux a little bit. We know what Fowler brings to the table, and the fact that maybe he can settle him down a little bit. There is that veteran experience. They can work together as a pair, get acclimated to each other. So I actually do like this. And listen, they haven't been generating anything. Like the entire team and the defense, at least offensively, have not been generating anything. And on top of that, the defense hasn't looked good anyway in their own zone. So why not mess everything up, or not mess everything up, but mix everything up, for lack of a better term, and try to get something going. And if you find something here, then perfect. And if you don't, maybe you're mixing the lines around again, and you go back to what was working last year, and you find it. You end up finding it because this was a message sent to the whole team that nobody's safe right now. We're trying a bunch of different pairings, and if things continue to go this way, they have some guys down there in Springfield that look pretty good. Maybe they make a call. I know there's some complications with the salary cap. Not really, though, because they have LTIR space to use. But obviously, you want to be mindful of that stuff in terms of deadline cap space and how much you're leaving for yourself over the course of the year when you're making moves. But I do wonder if it gets to that point, or even a trade, Mark, if this, it continues to go this way. Because make no mistake about it, a lot of people are talking about, not so sure about Monty right now. Some of these decisions, I don't think it's the decisions. The team's not going for him right now, and it is still early in the season. But we'll see what ultimately happens. We'll see if some of these lines find some synergy. But the defense core just has to be better. I know they're not scoring, and a lot of people are pointing fingers at the forwards, but the defense core has to be a lot better too.
And I think the big thing is, and I like you bringing up Springfield, this is a situation, maybe things aren't working. Listen, getting Sonny back into the lineup on the fourth line is going to be awesome. But maybe if we're not getting the offense going, maybe Joseph sits, you call up someone like Dvorsky to get into this lineup. The Blues have a lot of options. The panic button, we shouldn't alarm yet. Listen, it's what, 7, 8, 9 games into the season. This is a team that's going to get going. We've seen them get going halfway through last year. We're going to see it before that time this year. But what's your guys' thoughts on this? Go down and leave a comment down below. And comment of the day goes to everyone today. We just want to give you a huge shout out and a sincere thank you for supporting us, watching these videos, talking about the Blues. Go down and leave your favorite Blues player in history down in the comments. Let us know why you love them. We love reading through it. But that'd be it for this episode. If you liked it, go down and leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep your eye out for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take care.